While most of the spotlight so far has been on QPR's first summer signing Amadou Mabenge and statement coup Kwame Poku, quietly wedged in the middle was 22-year-old Australian right-back Kealey Adamson, who officially joined the R's from A-League side Macarthur on the 1st of July for an initial fee of £150,000. Alongside Daniel Benny and Jalen Pearman, Adamson is now QPR's third Australian export in 14 months. So who is he, what is his playstyle, and why have Rangers developed a new habit of shopping down under? I'm Connor aka Hoopsa, I talk all things QPR, and in this transfer deep dive I'm going to be chatting through all of those topics and more, so let's get into it. Kealey Adamson was born on the 9th of March 2003 in St Leonards, Australia. As a boy, his football journey kicked off on Sydney's North Shore at Lindfield FC, where he remained until 2015 when youth scouts of nearby semi-professional side Northern Tigers convinced the 12-year-old to join their academy. Over his teenage years, he quickly established himself as a key player in the club's youth squads, and in 2021, age 18, he was eventually promoted to the first team, making 9 appearances in a season significantly impacted by the COVID pandemic. That steady progress at Northern Tigers didn't go unnoticed, and in 2022, he joined A-League side Sydney FC's youth system, gaining valuable experience in his first professional football environment. In 2022-23, he initially played solely for the youth side, making 28 appearances in the NPL and scoring 1 goal and providing 5 assists. But midway through the season, having established himself as an exciting young right-back and with the first team in need of rotation due to injury, Adamson would sign his first ever short-term professional contract with the club. He wouldn't end up making a single A-League appearance for Sydney FC, but he did play in all 5 rounds of the Australia Cup, winning his first ever medal at the age of 20. His senior debut against Central Coast in the first round on the 13th of August 2023 saw him play a 420 minutes in a 3-3 draw and eventual 13-12 penalty shootout win. He would then start the next 3 rounds against Leichhardt, Western United and Melbourne before coming off the bench at half-time to cover an injury at left back before the eventual 3-1 final win against Brisbane Roar. And all while this was happening, it's worth noting that Adamson had also started his coaching journey, serving as the under-13s boys coach at former side Northern Tigers. You would imagine those good performances en route to Sydney's only silverware that season would have been enough to earn him a longer contract, but in December 2023, to the surprise of many, the club released him. Following that cup triumph, he'd suffered a hamstring injury, and with plenty of competition at right back, Sydney had ultimately decided that he was surplus to requirements. One club's loss was another club's gain though, because that same month, fellow A-League side Macarthur snapped the young right back up, and once he was formally signed in January 2024, he went straight into the first team. His debut in a 3-3 draw with Western United on the 12th of January saw him play 86 minutes and collect his first A-League assist, and he remained a regular first teamer from that point onwards with a further 12 league appearances in the second half of the 23-24 season. To make things even sweeter, he would once again play a significant role in 4 rounds of the 2024 Australia Cup, going on to win the competition for a second year running at his new club with starts in the second round, semi-final and final against Melbourne. Last season, he became an even more pivotal figure at Macarthur, starting 25 out of 26 A-League fixtures, bagging 2 goals and 3 assists and ending the campaign as the winner of the Macarthur Medal, the top prize at the club's end of season awards. And atop that, this year Adamson made his first appearances for Australia under-23s, the first a 2-1 win against Croatia under-21s in which Adamson scored the opener, and the second a 0-0 draw with United Arab Emirates under-20s. And that takes us to the present, where Kealey Adamson has officially joined Queen's Park Rangers to bolster Julian Stéphan's options at right back. So what kind of player can QPR fans expect? Coming in at 6'1", Adamson is very much your modern attacking right back with his overlapping runs, but surprisingly for a young player of his position, it's the defensive areas of his game where he really shone last season, and these are the aspects that I believe have made QPR pursue him. He defends with tenacity and his challenges have bite, and these traits are very much evident across many different metrics. In Australia's top tier last season, he was the #1 right back for tackles won, duels won and recoveries in the final third. He was also in the top 6% for blocks and general recoveries, top 25% for aerial duels and top 29% for overall interceptions. Using his large frame and his physicality, he hassles attackers and restricts the space that they can play in. He's also very positionally disciplined considering the attacking sensibilities that come with his role, which means he rarely gets caught high up the pitch. He has a really solid engine, starting 25 matches straight last season, and that's especially impressive given he is relentlessly up and down the pitch with those overlapping runs. On the ball, he's a very sensible footballer. He doesn't have the biggest passing range, so he rarely tries high-risk passes, but instead he seeks to maintain and progress possession by driving up the pitch down the right flank in behind the midfield, cutting in field and short passing to his teammates, and using bursts of pace to keep the ball away from the opposition. When it comes to contributing creatively, he creates a decent amount of chances for a fullback, with 17 last season, putting him in the top quarter of right backs to do so, leading to his 3 assists, and his smart positioning often at the edge of the box twice got him on the score sheet. Now, in terms of his downsides, his passing accuracy at 79%, crossing accuracy at 19.4% and dribble success at 44% were all below average for players of his kind last season, and that's why he seems to rely on the more physical sides of the game to maximise his efficiency. He's not a flash attacking fullback, but instead a calm, reliable and thoughtful one who will more often pick the simple option to keep the ball, and one whose defensive traits will add more value than his attacking ones. So, what do you reckon to this signing? For me, this is an interesting one, first of all because it seems to very much suggest that Haverton Santos will be on his way out this summer and that Adamson will come straight in as deputy to Dunn. That is ironic in some ways because, as Clive pointed out on Loft for Words earlier this week, this signing does feel pretty similar to Haverton Santos last summer, a low-cost, low-risk young right-back coming from overseas to provide cover, with every chance, despite his promising figures, that he won't be capable of adapting to the English game. The fact that Haverton came in from Portugal's top division and was deemed very early to not be up to scratch at QPR, and given the A-League is probably lower than that in terms of quality, this could be an even bigger jump for Adamson, especially given the Championship has twice as many games and a far more demanding schedule. As I said at the start though, QPR do keep shopping in Australia, and that must be for good reason. Last month it was also even rumoured that Rangers were considering buying a stake in the Central Coast Mariners. To me, this implies that whatever data model the club are using very much keeps suggesting that the younger players in the A-League have the right profiles to succeed here, and admittedly I'm far more encouraged to see it's the physical qualities of Adamson's game that stand out the most, because it's often those that are missing for players that struggle to adapt to the Championship. QPR aren't exactly the only second-tier club to be doing business in this market either, with Portsmouth signing 21-year-old winger Adrian Segacic from Sydney 2 weeks ago. Given that Adamson will be cover and rotation for Dunn, he won't exactly be playing 46 out of 46 league matches next season, so that should give him time to adapt at a good pace. He is the right kind of profile, and who knows, maybe it's a stroke of genius and we finally found a good young right back to develop here and eventually make the position his own. Anyway, over to you. What do you think about this signing? I'm really intrigued to hear your thoughts, so let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for tuning in for this transfer deep dive. If you've enjoyed and you're not already subscribed, please consider doing so. It really helps me to grow what I'm doing with this channel. Thank you so much again, and hopefully I will catch you next time. Cheers!